Picture this, an emperor who appointed his horse a political advisor. Sounds unbelievable, right? Welcome to the world of Caligula, the third Roman emperor who reigned from 37 to 41 AD. Known for his eccentricity and unpredictability, Caligula's name is synonymous with madness and extravagance. From the moment he donned the purple toga of the emperor, Caligula's rule was marked by a series of bizarre and shocking actions. He was a character of extremes, oscillating between generous acts of public grandeur and shocking displays of cruelty and debauchery. He was a master of spectacle, and his reign was anything but ordinary. Caligula's unpredictable nature and eccentric behavior earned him the title of Rome's most insane emperor. But who exactly was this man? What led him to such extremes? And what was life like under his rule? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the life of Caligula, Rome's most insane emperor. Caligula, originally known as Gaius, ascended to power in 37 AD at the tender age of 24. Born into the esteemed Julio-Claudian dynasty, young Gaius had the blood of both Julius Caesar and Augustus coursing through his veins. His upbringing was marred by tragedy, with his parents meeting untimely ends, leaving him in the care of his great-grandmother, Livia, the widow of Augustus. The early years of his reign were met with widespread approval. His charming demeanor and youthful exuberance won over the hearts of the Roman populace. He was hailed as a beacon of hope, a breath of fresh air after the stern and austere reign of his predecessor, Tiberius. Caligula granted bonuses to the military, abolished certain taxes, and hosted lavish public spectacles, further cementing his popularity. However, this period of benevolence was short-lived. The first signs of his descent into madness began to emerge after a severe illness in the first year of his reign. His behavior became increasingly erratic and tyrannical. He declared himself a living god, demanded to be worshipped, and embarked on extravagant construction projects that drained the empire's coffers. His obsession with his own divinity led him to commit a string of bizarre and shocking acts that horrified the Roman public. His transformation was sudden and drastic. The charismatic young leader who had once been welcomed with open arms had turned into a capricious and cruel despot. His rule became a reign of terror, marked by paranoia, cruelty, and unfathomable excesses. The golden boy of Rome had become its mad emperor. The descent of Caligula from a promising leader to a tyrannical ruler is a cautionary tale of power and madness intertwined. His story serves as a stark reminder of the destructive potential of absolute power, particularly in the hands of someone who lacks the mental stability to wield it responsibly. But what caused this promising young ruler to spiral into madness? Let's find out. As the years passed, Caligula's actions became increasingly erratic and cruel. One could say his reign was a carnival of insanity, where common sense was the first casualty. Let's delve into some of Caligula's most outrageous acts. His excessive spending was legendary. He squandered vast amounts of Rome's treasury on his personal whims, staging extravagant games that lasted for days, building lavish palaces, and even an aquatic bridge. This reckless spending brought the Roman economy to its knees, and yet, Caligula seemed oblivious to the crisis he was causing. And then, there were his declarations of divinity. You see, Caligula wasn't satisfied with just being emperor. He wanted to be a god, not metaphorically, but literally. He demanded to be worshipped, built temples in his own honor, and even had statues of himself erected next to the gods. Such audacity was unheard of, even among the notoriously egotistical Roman emperors. But perhaps the most infamous of Caligula's antics was his appointment of his favorite horse, Incitatus, to a political position. Now we've all heard of pet lovers, but Caligula took it to a whole new level. He treated Incitatus like a dignitary, providing him with a marble stall, an ivory manger, and even a house. The horse was invited to dine with the emperor and was rumored to have been made a consul. The thought of a horse participating in the political decision-making of Rome was preposterous, and yet, it was a reality under Caligula's rule. These were just a few of the bizarre decisions made by Caligula during his rule. But what were the consequences of his madness? Well, his reign of madness had a profound impact on Rome, and not in a good way. The details of his downfall and the aftermath of his reign are just as intriguing, if not more. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's just say that Caligula's reign was a wild ride that Rome would never forget. Caligula's reign was a period of chaos and instability for Rome. A statement that barely scratches the surface of the turmoil that was his rule. The city of Rome, once a beacon of civilization, was brought to its knees under the weight of his erratic leadership. Caligula's reign was marked by a series of financial blunders that plunged Rome into an economic crisis. His lavish lifestyle, coupled with his penchant for grandiose construction projects, drained the empire's treasury. He squandered Rome's wealth on personal indulgences, while common citizens were left to bear the brunt of his extravagance. But the economic crisis was just the beginning. Caligula's erratic behavior and disregard for tradition alienated the Roman public. He showed contempt for the Senate, often publicly humiliating its members. His unpredictable actions and blatant disregard for Roman law led to widespread discontent among the populace. The people of Rome, once staunch supporters of their young emperor, were quickly losing faith in his ability to lead. The final straw was his proclamation of divinity. Claiming himself to be a living god, Caligula demanded worship from his subjects. This blatant act of blasphemy was too much for the Roman elite, who saw it as a direct affront to their religious beliefs. Whispers of discontent soon turned into a full-blown conspiracy against the emperor. The plot was led by Cassius Chaerea, a disgruntled member of the Praetorian Guard, who felt personally insulted by Caligula's behavior. The conspiracy gained momentum, and on the 24th of January, in the year 41, the unthinkable happened. Caligula was assassinated, brutally murdered in a corridor of his own palace. Caligula's death marked the end of one of the most turbulent periods in Roman history. His reign, though short-lived, left a deep impact on Rome. A city once known for its strong leadership and wealth was reduced to a state of chaos and instability, a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and madness. Despite his short and chaotic reign, Caligula left a lasting mark on Roman history. His eccentricities, his lust for power, and his disregard for the norms of governance have made him a subject of fascination and horror for centuries. In the immediate aftermath of his death, the Roman public was relieved. Their nightmare was over. The Senate sought to obliterate his memory, a practice known as damnatio memoriae. His statues were torn down, his coins were melted, and his laws were repealed. Yet despite these efforts, Caligula's name lived on, becoming synonymous with madness and tyranny. Caligula's legacy is not confined to the annals of ancient history. He has become a figure of popular culture, his life and reign serving as the inspiration for countless books, plays, and films. From Robert Graves's historical novel, I, Claudius, to the controversial film Caligula, his story continues to captivate audiences. His name has become a byword for despotism, his rule a cautionary tale of power unchecked. The lessons from Caligula's rule are many. They remind us of the dangers of absolute power, the perils of mental instability in leadership, and the importance of checks and balances in governance. His reign stands as a stark warning against the concentration of power in the hands of a single individual, and the potential for such power to corrupt absolutely. Caligula's reign also highlights the role of public perception in shaping a leader's legacy. Despite his brutality and madness, Caligula was initially loved by the Roman public for his lavish spectacles and generous handouts. It was only when his actions became too outrageous, too cruel, that public opinion turned against him. So, could a leader like Caligula rise to power in today's world? What safeguards do we have in place to prevent such a reign of madness? These are questions that continue to resonate, reminding us of the need for vigilance, for scrutiny of our leaders, and for the continued defense of democratic principles.